Good afternoon. You're listening to Radio Gotel. We apologize for that little outage. It was due to power outage from the PHCN. Here is Gotel News at noon. President Goodluck Jonathan says that there was no conclusive security report on the 7 expatriate hostages purportedly killed by their abductors, the Islamic extremist group Ansaro. Federal government called for enhanced economic ties with the Chinese government. Gombe state government says it has mapped out plans to ensure the availability of potable water to all communities in the state by 2014. I am Mohammed Abdallah. The news in full. President Goodluck Jonathan said that there was no conclusive security report on the 7 expatriate hostages purportedly killed by the abductors, the Islamic extremist group Ansaro. Jonathan made the declaration at a joint press briefing he held with visiting President of Lebanon, General Michel Suleiman. The 7 expatriates abducted from the premises of a construction firm in Jamari area of Bauchi State on February 16 were from
accurate, balanced, objective, reliable source.
Gotel News, stories that make headlines.
We once again sorry for the outrage. It was due to power fluctuations. President Goodluck Jonathan said that there was no conclusive security report on the 7 expatriate hostages purportedly killed by their abductors, the Islamic extremist group Ansaro. Jonathan made the declaration at a joint press briefing he held with visiting President of Lebanon, General Michel Suleiman. The 7 expatriates abducted from the premises of a construction firm in Jamari area of Bauchi State on February 16 were from Lebanon, Britain, Greece and Italy. Ansaro had claimed on social media that it abducted the expatriates because of France's military intervention in Mali and killed them because of attempts by Nigeria and Britain to free them. Responding to a question on the fate of the hostages, President Jonathan said that government believed that not all the captives had been killed. The president, who decried the excesses of the group, noted that government was careful in effecting a forceful rescue of hostages to forestall killings. In his remarks, the Lebanese president said he agreed with the report as presented by President Jonathan and thanked the Nigerian government for efforts being made at liberating the hostages. Suleiman, who spoke through an interpreter, called on the abductors to have a rethink and release the hostages immediately. He noted that no matter the grievances of the group, such abduction will have a negative effect on their cause. The federal government has called for enhanced economic ties with the Chinese government. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Olubenga Ashiru, made the call at a meeting with Mr. Zhong Jianhua, Special Representative, African Affairs for China in Abuja. Briefing newsmen after a closed-door meeting between both parties, Ashiru said that the Chinese government's investment in key sectors will facilitate economic growth. He said that both parties had also agreed to enhance relations at the international level. Earlier, Zhong Hua said that China was open to suggestions from Nigeria on ways to tackle the security challenges of the sub-region. The envoy commended Nigeria for her efforts in meeting basic infrastructure and expressed readiness to collaborate with the federal government to build more infrastructure. The news agency of Nigeria, NAN, reports that the trade volume between Nigeria and China has exceeded $10 billion, about 1.6 trillion naira, in the last 2 years. The Chinese government has focused on checking and improving Chinese products in Nigeria to enhance confidence in its products by Nigerians. The Nigerian ambassador to Vietnam, Mr. Matthias Ojio Kafo, has called for partnership between governments and stakeholders in the agricultural sector to boost food production in the country. Ojio Kafo made the call in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria NAN in Enugu on Monday. He said that the synergy will encourage high productivity in agriculture as well as reduce overdependence on oil. The envoy lamented that farmers in Nigeria got minimal support from the government, adding that it was detrimental to the achievement of the Millennium Development Goals MDG's targets on food production. Ojio Kafo said that rice husk was used in Vietnam for cooking, noting that same could be replicated in Nigeria to reduce deforestation. He appealed to the government to take advantage of what the Vietnamese were doing in agriculture to increase productivity in the sector, especially in the area of rice production, processing, and exports. The ambassador noted that epileptic power supply in Nigeria was a challenge to industrialization and business growth. On Nigerians living in Vietnam, Okafo said that there were more than 500 registered Nigerians in the country, adding that the embassy maintained cordial relationship with them to protect their interests. This news is coming to you from Radio Gotel, transmitting on 917 kilohertz. The Institute for Agricultural Research, IAR Zaria, has developed Moruca-resistant cowpea to reduce farm loss, Mrs. Rose Gidado, a biotechnologist, said. Gidado head Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology, OFAB, unit of the National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA, said this in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria in Abuja on Monday. She said the defeat was an activity under the Moruca-resistant cowpea project. NAN reports that the Moruca-resistant cowpea project is a public-private partnership coordinated by the African Agricultural Technology Foundation, AATF, to develop improved varieties of cowpea that can withstand the pot borer, Moruca vitra, and enhance farmers' grains and further produce. Moruca vitra is a major pest that inflicts severe damage to cowpea. In severe infestations, yield losses of between 70% and 80% have been reported. According to her, the Moruca-resistant cowpea project was a project that started in 2008. Gidado said the confined field trial of the cowpea was in its fourth year. She said the developers expected to have the first Moruca-resistant cowpea in 2017, subject to approval by regulatory agencies. Gidado observed that genetic modification could also be exploited to increase the nutritional composition of cowpea in terms of protein, micronutrients, and vitamins. She expressed the hope that the project will lay the foundation for developing new value-added cowpea products. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Ethics and Values, Mrs. Sarah Jibril, has advised politicians to shun the use of youth and as talks to ensure meaningful growth. Jibril gave the advice on Sunday in Abuja when she fielded questions at a forum of the news agency of Nigeria NAN as part of preparation towards the forthcoming National Summit on Ethics and Values. NAN reports that the summit will hold in Abuja on March 21 and will be held on the same date annually. She said that practice of using youths as talks hindered the growth of ethical values and recommended that culprits should be punished to serve as deterrent. Jibril said that her office had proposed a bill to inculcate ethics and values in the Constitution as means to curb immoral behaviors. She said that if the National Assembly passed the bill, it will help to promote justice and fairness for Nigerians during electoral processes. She advised politicians to always lead by showing good examples to encourage good morals in the society. The presidential aide also advised the people that people should always seek relevant information about electoral candidates before casting their votes to prevent bad governance. To end Gotel News at Noon, here's a review of the main stories. We brought you a report that President Goodluck Jonathan said on Monday in Abuja that there was no conclusive security report on the 7 expatriate hostages purportedly killed by their abductors, the Islamic extremist group Ansaru. Jonathan made the declaration at the joint press briefing he held with visiting President of Lebanon, General Michel Suleiman. The federal government on Monday called for enhanced economic ties with the Chinese government. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Olubenga Ashiru, made the call at a meeting with Mr. Zhong Junhao, Special Representative, African Affairs for China in Abuja. Stay tuned for the translations of the news in Hausa and Fulfulde.
Madalla jama'a masu sauraron assalamu alaikum barkanku da wannan lokaci ga kuma fasar labaran cikin Hausa mai karantowa shekarau Yarima farko muhimman kanun su. Shugaban kasa Goodluck Jonathan ya ce babu wani rahoto na tsaro a hukumance da ya shafi wasu 'yan kasashen waje su 7 da wata kungiya ta Ansaru ke ikirarin cewar ta kashe su. Gwamnatin tarayya ta yi kira da samu wata dangantaka ta tattalin arziki da gwamnatin kasar Sin. Gwamnatin jihar Gombe kuwa ta ce ta fayyace wasu taswira da nufin tabbatar da samar da ruwan sha ga dukkanin al'ummomin jihar a shekara mai zuwa. Yanzu kuma ga labaran ɗaya bayan ɗaya. Shugaban kasa Goodluck Jonathan ya ce babu wani rahoto sahihi a hukumance na tsaro da ya shafi 'yan asalin kasashen wajen nan su 7 da wata kungiyar Islama mai suna Ansaru take ikirarin wai ta kashe su. Jonathan ya fayyace haka ne wani taron manema labaru na haɗin gwiwa da ya yi tare da shugaban ƙasar Lebanon Janar Michel Suleiman. Su dai 'yan asalin kasashen wajen su 7 an sace su ne harabar kamfanin da suke aiki a garin jama'ar da ke jihar Bauchi cikin watan Fabrairu, waɗanda suka kasance 'yan asalin Lebanon, Birtaniya, Girka da kuma Italiya. Ƙungiyar ta Ansaru ta yi kirarin cewar ta sace wa'annan 'yan asalin ƙasashen wajen ne saboda katsalandan da sojojin ƙasar Faransa ke yi a ƙasar Mali, kuma ta kashe su saboda kokari da Najeriya da kuma Birtaniya ke yi na kwato su. Da yake amsa tambayoyi game da matsayin wayanda aka sace kwa, shugaba Jonathan ya ce gwamnati ta yi imanin cewa ba dukkaninsu da aka kama bane aka kashe su in ma hakan ya faru. Shugaban kasan wadda ya koka game da yadda wannan kungiya ke ta'addanci a kasar nan ya nuna cewa gwamnati na yin taka tsantsan da nufin tabbatar da ganin cewa ta ceto wayannan da aka sace domin gudun kada su a kashe su. A jawabinsa shugaban kasar na Lebanon ya amince da rahoton da shugaba Jonathan ya bayar, kana ya gode gwamnatin Najeriya a bisa kokari da take yi na tabbatar da ganin cewa an samu kwato wayannan 'yan kasashen wajen. Suleiman, wanda ya kuma jaddada bukatar waɗanda suka aikata hakan da su sake tunani domin sako wa'annan waɗanda suka tsare ba tare da jinkiri ba, ya ce ko ma yaya fushin da wannan suka yi, sace sun ba shi ne zai warware matsalolin da suke ciki ba, illa kawai ya kawo ɓatanci ga abin da ba a bukata. Gwamnatin tarayya ta yi kira da samu ƙarfafa dangantaka na tattalin arziki da ƙasar China. Ministan harkokin wajen Najeriya Ambassador Olubenga Ashiru ne wannan kiran wani taro da ya yi da wakili na musamman da ke kula da harkokin Afirka na kasar Sin a Abuja, Mr. Zhong Jianhu, da yake kyankyasa manema labaru bayan taron da suka yi asirce. Ashiru ya ce gwamnatin kasar Sin tana da jari mai yawan gaske, waɗanda kuma idan ta ƙara ƙarfafa su zai taimaka wajen ci gaban tattalin arziki a ƙasar nan. Ya ce dukkanin ɓangarorin biyu sun amince su tallafa wa juna, musamman ma mataki na duniya. Don farko Jianhu ya ce kasar Sin a shirye take na samun shawarwari daga Najeriya a game da hanyoyin da za a bi wajen takalar kalubale na tsaro da ke addabar wannan yankin. Jakadan ya kuma yaba wa Najeriya bisa kokari da take yi na cimma samar da wasu muhimman abubuwa tare da bayyana aniyar gwamnatin kasar Sin na haɗa kai da gwamnatin tarayya da nufin ƙara samar da muhimman ababe da ake bukata. Kamfanin dillacin labaran Najeriya barto cewa cinikayya tsakanin Najeriya da kasar Sin dai ya